Hi everyone! In the last week, we've learned chord, and when a chord contains three notes, it's called triad. How about if a chord contains four notes? Do we still have a name for it? In this lesson, let me introduce the seventh note. Sorry, the seventh chord.
Okay, everyone, before we start to learn the seventh chord, let's first of all take a look at the triad that we've learned in the last week. From this, if this is a treble clef, this note is A, and it's called the root note of the triad. And then from A, we count an interval size of a third, then we got C, and this C is called the third of the triad. And then we count another third of interval size, we got E, and this E is called the fifth note of the triad. So those three notes are called triad. And what if we count another third based on the fifth note? Then we got a seventh note. So that's why this four-note chord is called the seventh chord. And why it is called the seventh chord, why this note is called the seventh? Okay, let's start to talk with the third and the fifth. Why this is called the third is because the interval size from the root to the third is a third. And it is called the fifth because from the root to the fifth note, the interval size is fifth. So similarly, why this note is called the seventh is because from the root to the seventh note, the interval size is a seventh. We can count it together. This note is G and this note is F. So from G, A, B, C, D, E, F, it spans 7 letter names. So the interval size is 7. And that is why it is called the seventh note. And also that is why it is called the seventh chord. So a seventh chord contains a triad plus a seventh note, which is another third based on the fifth note. So let's build a seventh chord together. If I use treble clef and I want to build a seventh chord based on C. So first of all, let's build a triad based on C. We count a third, then we got E. And based on the E, we count another third, we got G. And based on the G, we count another third, then we got B. So this is a seventh chord, and the interval size between each note is also a third. This conception is similar to the triad. For example, if you want to write the seventh note here or even here, then it is not correct because from the fifth to the seventh the interval size has to be a third. There are 4 qualities for the triad. There are also 4 common use quality of the seventh chord. Of course, there are many possibilities of the seventh chord, but the most common quality are just 4. And in all those qualities, I only require you guys to remember this quality because, I totally understand it is way too confusing because we just memorize all the quality of those triads, and then there are 4 more quality of the seventh chord. It's so difficult, right? So this one is the quality that you need to master, you need to memorize, and the other quality you just need to understand, and you don't need to master those. So let me explain each of the quality. The first and also the most common use quality of the seventh chord is called dominant. Dominant means a major triad plus a minor third. So, like we've learned in the last lesson, the major triad means a major third plus a minor third. And then dominant seventh chord, we need to plus 1 more minor third based on that. So look at this example. This is treble clef, and this is a major third, this is a minor third, and this is a major triad. A major triad. And we need to count one more minor third based on this triad. So we got a C, so that this chord is dominant seventh chord. And the second coming in seventh chord is called minor seventh chord. It consists of a minor triad, which is a minor third plus a major third, and a minor third. So it's minor third plus major third plus one more minor third, like this one. This is minor third, this is major third, and this is another minor third. The third quality of the seventh chord is called half diminished seventh chord. It consists of a diminished triad, which consists of two minor third and one more major third. So here is half diminished seventh chord. This is a minor third and another minor third, so that this triad is a diminished triad. And we need to count a major third based on this diminished triad. So we got a half diminished seventh chord. And the last common use quality of the seventh chord is called the diminished seventh chord. Its full name is called the fully diminished seventh chord, but normally we just call it diminished seventh chord because another one is called half diminished. So this one is just diminished. And a diminished seventh chord contains a diminished triad, which is a minor third plus a minor third and one more minor third. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This should be minor third. So a diminished seventh chord consists of three minor third. So let's take a look at this example. One minor third, two minor third, three minor third. So just count three minor third, and this is diminished seventh chord. Now let's listen to a piece by Mozart, who is probably the most famous classical period composer. And this piece contains a lot of seventh chord. This class is not required as to master the inversion of the seventh chord, but in this piece there are a lot of inversion of the seventh chord, and I will talk a little bit about the inversion of the seventh chord in the meeting. Before we start to talk about the chord symbols for the seventh chord, let's take a quick review of this PowerPoint that we've seen in the last week. This is the chord symbol for all the triads, and we know that there is major triad, minor triad, diminished triad, and augmented triad. For the major triad, we write a capital letter, which is the root of the triad. For example, this root is D, so we just write a capital D to indicate this is D major triad. And for minor triad, we write a capital letter followed by a lowercase m. So here is D and lowercase m. For diminished triad, we write a capital letter followed by a small circle. So this is diminished triad. And for augmented triad, we write a capital letter followed by a plus sign. So those are the chord symbols for the triads. Now let's take a look of the chord symbol of the seventh chord. It is very similar to the triad. Remember we said for the major triad, we just write a capital letter which indicate the root of the triad. So for dominant seventh chord, we also just write a capital letter which indicate the root of the seventh chord. And we use a number 7 right on the right side of this capital letter. So for example, if I want to write a E dominant seventh chord, then the root is E. And because this is seventh chord and this is dominant seventh chord, I just need to write a capital letter E and then a number 7 on the right corner of this E. And then for the minor seventh chord, it is also very similar to the triad because for minor triad, we just write a capital letter plus a lowercase m. For the minor seventh chord, we also write a capital letter followed by the lowercase m, but plus a number, which is 7. And for the half diminished, we need to introduce a new symbol because for diminished, we write a capital letter plus a small circle, but for half diminished, we need to write a circle like this. So a capital letter followed by a circle with a slash and a number 7. And for the diminished, it is also similar to the triad, just it is a capital letter plus a small circle, but for 7 chord plus a number 7. So how do you guys feel? Isn't it very similar to other triads? The only thing you need to do is to write the number 7 on the right corner of the symbol. And I also want to stress it one more time. The only 7th chord I want you guys to memorize is the dominant 7th chord because this is the most useful 7th chord. So now I want to take an example of how to build the 7th chord and write the chord symbol for it. If the given note is F and I want you to build a 7th chord, first of all, the dominant 7th chord is a major triad plus a minor third. So first of all, let's build a major triad based on this F. A major triad means a major third plus a minor third. So a major third we got A and a minor third we got C. Then one more minor third for the 7th note. So it's going to be E flat. And because this is dominant 7th chord, the chord symbol is just a capital letter which indicates the root and a number 7. So this is F dominant 7th chord. I'm going to write down its full name here. F dominant 7th chord. Right now, let's listen to a saxophone solo called Blues Walk. And pay attention to those chord symbols for all those 7th chord. Behind this solo saxophone melody, there is a guitar and a piano which is playing those chords for the saxophone.